Hey everyone, welcome back to another Creative Tap tutorial with me, John Parker. In today's tutorial we're going to be looking at something a little bit different. We've looked at making swinging type before, but we're going to look at making some more kinetic typography. So if you look at this piece by here, there you go, if you can dream it, you can do it. Now we've got a lot going on here. You've got 3D text, you've got 3D background, we've got lights in this, we've got a camera movement, so if you see you've got a camera just pulling backwards so you can fit all the type in. We've got a light with shadows, casting, so there is quite a lot going on in here. But the kind of places these things are used, they're used in lyric videos a lot. You can use this as an intro to your YouTube channel, you can use this if you're doing a presentation. It's a lot nicer way of sharing text with people. It looks clean and professional, and I'm going to be showing you how to do that inside of After Effects. So let's dive on in. Cool, so this is just to show you, this is the comp that I was working with. You got a light, camera, and then the text layers, and then the background. Okay, so I'm going to go and create a new composition, and I'm going to call it Kinetic Type 2. 1920 by 1080, 25 frames per second, 15 seconds as well is long enough, so I'll just click OK. Now, first of all, I'm going to get rid of having two views for now, and that's just by going down by here, going back to one view. So this is my one view. Okie dokes. I'm going to create a new solid first of all, so layer new solid, and this blue is what I like, so we'll go with that, and that's my background. And you can put a ramp on here if you want, but I don't, because we're having a light here, and it, you know, that kind of sells it anyway. That gives it that nice sort of fall off gradiented look. So I'm going to start creating my text. So I'm going to get my horizontal type tool, come in here, type the word if. Now you can see that mine are all in capitals, and to do that I think it works better. Just highlight your text and click this little icon so you can see it jumps back and forth from it. But I think capitals are good for at least what I'm trying to achieve. So I've got the word if, and now I'm just going to do another one. Type here, type the word you, and just going to line that up, something like that. Then get this again and type the word can. So it's just getting all of them in there. Now these are a little bit big, so I'm going to select them all, come to here and go to 175. And yeah, that's the kind of size I want. So now I'm going to line them up again, like so. Now the next two words, dream it, I want them bigger, so I'm going to click here, type the word dream, and I'm going to leave it that size for now, and I'm going to type the second word, which is it, and there you go, get that one in there. Now I'm going to select both of these, and I'm going to push the size up to 250. There you go, and move them back so we've got the word dream, and then I just need to get the word it and drag it to the side. I'm holding shift to keep it in a straight line. There, so you've got if you can dream it, and let's move these down a little touch as well. And I'm going the next bit of the phrase for me is you can do it. So I've already got the words you can at the right size, so all I'm going to do is shift select these, Control C, Control V, and I'm going to move them up to the top, and I want to move you below can. Okay, and now I'm going to get these two and drag them down. So if you can dream it, you can, and then I'm going to go and click in and type the word do, and that's, I want that larger as well, like the word dream, and that's already done. You can do, and I'm going to copy the word it, Control C, Control V, and move this down. Okay, so we've got all the words in there. If you can dream it, you can do it, and your words may be different, but I'm just going to roll with this for now. Now if we look back at my example, wherever it is, you can see that they're basically they're spinning in, they're twirling in from different axes. So the word it spins in kind of on its left corner. The word you comes in from the top. The word can comes in from the left. The word do comes in sort of around the center. So you can see there's a lot of difference in them. So the next part that I'm going to do, right, is I'm going to move this anchor point to different parts of the word. So with the word if, I'm going to keep the anchor point on the bottom so it comes up from the bottom. with the word U, I'm going to get my move anchor point, and I want to move this to the top. Okay, so it swings in from the top. And when you get close, if you hold Control, it'll snap. Okay, see that snapping? It'll snap to the top. Now with the word can, I want it coming in from the side maybe, and hold Control when you get close. Now the word dream, I want this kind of spinning in sideways sort of. So I'm just going to put mine by here in the middle one, so it kind of let's see if I've got it as an example in here. It kind of spins in, yeah, on the middle axis like that. Okay, now let's carry on. The word it, let's have this one coming from the bottom. The word you, let's go from the top. The word can, let's come from the right. The word do, I'm going to come to the middle again. And the word it, let's come from the top. Okay, so I've got all them sort of sorted now. I want to make all of these layers 3D. So if you can't see the 3D icon at this cube by here to turn them on, all you need to do is click toggle switches and then you'll see them. So there you go, they're all 3D. Now I need to start animating, so I'm going to come right to the beginning, or actually I'm going to come 10 frames in. So I just went to the beginning and held shift and page down, and that comes 10 frames in. If you want to like maybe do 8 or 12, you can hit the page down button now as many times as you want, and it goes through one frame at a time. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so I'm going to hit R, and now that they're 3D layers, there is a lot of rotation properties. So I'm going to start with the bottom word, okay? And do we want it spinning on the it's the X, okay? So I'm going to turn off this background just for now, because we haven't moved it back yet and it kind of cuts off the word, but we'll sort that out later. So I'll turn it off for now. What I want to do is I want to animate this word flipping up. So I'm going to bring it down to about here where it looks completely flat. So let's move in. Yeah, it's completely flat. And I'm going to come back to the beginning, sorry, and hit keyframe. So it's at -85. Come forward 10 frames, so hold shift and page down. And I'm going to click in here and hit 0. So across those, it flips up, okay? Now, this is basically rinse and repeat, okay? So you come to the word U. Is it going to be the X? I think it's going to be the X, yeah. So this one's going to come down. So we're going to move it like so. Set a keyframe at the beginning, come forward 10 frames, and we want to 0 it out. And there's no specific value you change it to. It's just wherever, when you're pulling this, wherever it kind of equals out. And we're going to be getting rid of those little 1 frames where you can kind of see it, so don't worry. Next word is can. So on this one, I think we're going to want to go for the Y rotation. Yeah. So we'll spin it until we can barely see it and it's flat. Set a keyframe, come forward 10, and hit 0. So this is what we've got so far. They're all rotating on different axes in. So now with the word dream, so let's have a look. With this one, I think we're going to go for X, so spinning around the center. And let's set a keyframe when it's sort of completely flat. So keyframe, come forward 10 frames, and we want that to 0 out. Now let's go to the word it, and come back to the beginning. So that starts from here, and then set a keyframe, come forward 10 frames, and 0 it out. Now on to the final 2 lines. Let's get the X rotation, so we have it swinging down. Come back to the beginning, set the keyframe, shift page down to go forward 10 frames, and hit 0. And with yours, it doesn't have to be 10 frames, but that's just what I kind of want to work with in mine. So it is literally just a matter of rinsing and repeating this process, okay? Now, mine has taken a little while. I've only got 2 words left, so it shouldn't take too long now. Let's come back to the beginning for the word do. And like the word dream, I want this one spinning around the center because this is like one of the main kind of words. Dream and do it are the main ones. So come like that. Keyframe, forward 10 frames, 0 out. And finally, the last one is, let's have this one swinging down like so. Come to the beginning, set that as a keyframe with a stopwatch, and then come 0 this out. Okay, great. Now let's close all of these down so we don't have to see all that. Let's do this very quickly. Right, okay. Now this is what we've got. If we play it through, and let's fit this as well. This is our first frame, and you can see it's not great. We can see a little bits of white, but we're going to be sorting that. But this is what we've got. They all animate in together, but they all animate in sort of on different axes, which is nice. Now what I'm going to do is select all of the text layers, hit T, and that brings me up the opacity, and I'm going to click and set them all to 0. Okay, set a keyframe, come forward 1 frame, and we want to bring this all the way up to 100. So what happens now, at the beginning you can't see them apart from these red lines because they're just the layers and they won't render obviously, but then they appear. Okay, so that's good. Now if we turn this background layer on, you'll see that they're sort of being cut off, okay? And the reason being, if we switch to two views horizontal, you've got some words, you can see them animating in from this view. They're sort of on the same axis as the blue solid, so it doesn't really work, okay? So all we need to do is get this blue solid, hit P, and we want to come forward maybe a frame so we can see where it's getting cut off. And we want to click and drag to push this back. And you can either do it with this value down here, or you can come in with this Z axis by here and push it back. And you can see as I'm doing that, it reveals more of the words. So we don't want any of them cut off. So let's push it back. And that top C there, right, I think that's back far enough now. You can see that's where it was getting cut off, cutting off this layer. So if we were to bring this forward, like so, you can see it's intersecting this layer by here, which is trying to swing round. So we just need to push this back far enough, just by there is fine. And now we can hit S and scale it up so it fills the composition again. And there we go. We've sorted that issue out. So these all swing in like so, and that's quite nice. Okay, so let's now, I think it was 10 frames, wasn't it? We want to offset all these so they kind of happen in sequence. So if we hit U, we can, with all the layers selected, we can see that there's the keyframe, okay, where they animate in. So what we want to do is, let's make this bigger again, like so. We've got all the words in here. I've got all the text layers selected, and I want to hit Alt and the end square bracket. And what that does is it trims all of these layers down, okay? So after they've animated in, essentially they turn off. But the reason we're doing this, if we collapse these, is we're going to use this to sequence them. So I want to click the bottom one, and then shift click the top one, right click them, and go to Keyframe Assistant, Sequence Layers, click OK, and now I can extend all of these. So what it's done is it used the sort of length of them to offset them one by one. So now, if we were to play this through, we've got it all going in sequence. So they all, the start of them has been offsetted. Okay, if you can dream it, you can do it. It's taken a while to preview in, but there you go. That's what you've got. So that's good. Now, what I would like to do is if I come in and hit U, what I would like to do is I'm just going to bring these all back to the start again by hitting the beginning square bracket, and it brings them all back to the start. And I want to hit R on each of the layers with all of the layers selected, and I'm going to select all of these keyframes because I want to easy ease them with the graph editor, so that's not just a linear animation. Okay, so I've selected all of these. All I've done is I've gotten all the text layers, shift select them all, hit R, and we've got all of these rotational keyframes which we've animated. So click and drag to select them all, come into the graph editor, and let's zoom in, and I want to make sure, select them all again, all these second ones by here. I want to easy ease these, so easy ease by here, and I'm going to zoom in, and all I'm going to do is make sure you're editing the speed graph, so that's ticked, not the value graph, and all I'm going to do is click and drag so this animation is a lot faster, so it's very fast and then gradually slows down, so it's just got a nicer feel to it, you know. So with that being done, all I want to do now is offset all of these keyframes again, so they've got a nice sort of easy ease. You can see it's changed there. I'm going to repeat that last process I did. Alt and end bracket, and so it cuts them all off like that. Make sure when you select these to sequence them, make sure the first one is if and the end one is it. So make sure you click if first and then shift click to it. And now we can right click and sequence layers and click OK and extend them all. So now all that little change did is this made the animation a lot smoother and a lot nicer and a lot more appealing. So this is good so far. This is what we've got. They animate in, but they're getting cut off at the bottom, so we want to sort of pull the camera back. So let's go right click, new, and camera, or you can go layer, new, camera, and click OK. Excellent. So I've got my camera. I'm going to hit P for position, or actually come down into the transform. I'm going to come to the beginning, set a keyframe for point of interest and position. I'm going to zoom out of my second view by here and come forwards to about this point just before the word do comes in, and I'm going to pull my camera back and maybe pull it to the left a little bit or to the right and maybe down just a touch. So if you hover over, you've got the Y selected by your mouse and it moves it up and down, so something like that. So now by the time do and it come in, they look nice. And the scale of my blue solid, I want to just chuck that up as well. So now, as well as having the words come in, we've got this nice little camera that pulls back, and you can see that happening on the left and actively on the right as well. So that's our camera animated. And the last thing I want to do is I want to add a light just to give it that sort of a bit of a cinematic look. So I'm going to go layer, new, light, and spotlight's fine. I want to make sure that casts shadows is ticked, so the light is cast in shadows. And we'll come into the shadow darkness and diffusion later. Just click OK. Alright, so what you want to do is shift select all of your layers, all of your text layers, come into the drop down, go to material options and turn cast shadows to on. Okay, and that's going to turn it on for all of them. So let's close them down. Now, in terms of where you want your light, I like mine fairly straight on. So all I'm going to do is move it a bit more into the center. I'm going to drag the Y-axis down, and also I'm going to drag this this cross by here to come sort of straight on like this. This is the point of interest where it's shining, and I'm going to do the same in here. So it's a very, very straight on light, okay? And I'm going to pull it a lot further back into space, almost to be in line with my camera. So click the blue arrow and the Z and just pull it back. Okay, and that's looking a lot nicer. Now the shadows are a little bit harsh at the moment, so we can come into the drop down, come to the light options, shadow darkness. I'm going to turn that to about 50%, so the shadows aren't as dark, and the shadow diffusion, I think I'm going to turn this up to about 50 as well, so it just blurs the shadows a little bit, and it looks a lot cleaner and a lot crisper. So as far as it goes, this is us kind of finished now. So we've got a very, very nice sort of animation going on here now. We've got each of the letters animating in on a different axis. It's taken quite a while to preview in for me. If I were to make some changes to this, I'd probably move my light a little bit, I think, down, so the shadows down and to the right maybe, so the shadows are a little bit more kind of up here. But we'll just let this preview in now. And obviously another thing you can do, you can play around with the color of your text, you can play around with the color of your background, you can play around with the font, you can play around with the sizing, you can even animate the color of the text, animate the sizing if you wanted to. But this is just a nice sort of clean way and a nice way of kind of presenting text. Could be that you do it for your business, could be that you do it for your YouTube channel, could be you do it for a lyric video or whatever. But now that's previewed in, we can have a watch of it. If you can dream it, you can do it. There you go. So I'm going to leave it there. Cheers for tuning in, and I will see you in the next tutorial.